Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Ricky Taylor, the driver, one of the drivers of the number 10 Konica Minolta, Konica Minolta Cadillac. I had to get used to saying that again. For Wayne Taylor Racing. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. How are you? It is weird to say. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So why don't we just start off with that? I mean, new season, get ready to kick off with Rolex. Back with, back with Cadillac, back with General Motors. What is it? What has that been like to go back to? Because you were pretty successful under when the last time you partnered with the Cadillac brand.
Yeah, it is. Jordan and I both, and our dad, started our careers sort of with GM. My dad back in '91 with the Chevy Spice, and then Jordan with a Chevy Camaro back in what was it, 2009. And then I was driving in Daytona prototypes with Chevy, so it was very much a homecoming. I was off with Acura for what was it, almost 7 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
So it's a long time. I had a great time with Acura, but it's always nice to see so many familiar faces, and I think, like you said, WTR has a great history with Cadillac, and hopefully we can kick it off with a good start at the Rolex 24.
Yeah. So, what obviously the big change this year was, going to Cadillac, but what are some of the other things that changed with your team, if anything, in 2025?
Yeah, I think the long distance drivers, we have some new guys coming on board, obviously with Alex Lynn, Will Stevens. Alex Lynn and Will Stevens both have history with the team, but back with us again. Kobayashi has a lot of history with the team, Brendan Hartley. So I feel like it's a new combination of drivers. So it's nice to have all of them back. But I think what's really exciting is it's going to be the second full season with two cars. I think we had a lot of teething pains last year, getting used to having the boxes together, and how to manage such a large team. It was way more complicated than just adding a car and adding a couple extra people. It was all the communication and how do you do the meetings, and how do you effectively run two different race teams, but sort of as one, with one sort of mission. And I'm excited for year two because I think all of that did take a lot of learning and development. So this year, I think that's going to be the number one on my list, is looking forward to that cohesiveness in the team.
Yeah. Okay, so really, this year I mean, last year you did get a win. And then of course, the outlook heading into 2025, and you just kind of talked about with the two new teams, and obviously getting back to Cadillac. Do you think really any growing pains this year because you're getting used to going back to GM, or do you think it's now that we're with the two teams, obviously the manufacturer changes is big, but you know do you see any you don't see any struggle points heading into 2025?
Yeah, it's funny. Every off season has its own hurdles. So whether it was, I feel like it's every year. So it's either, getting new cars in what was it, 2021,
No.
going to Acura, and then it was, one smooth off season, and then it was moving to GTP, then it was moving to two cars, now it's moving to Cadillac. So every off season has its own hurdle, and the team never gets to rest. So getting the new cars, it always seems simple at the time, like, oh, we're just gonna, use what Ganassi learned and plug and play, and then we're gonna be off to the races. But um, once you get the cars, there's so much work that needs to be done. The team has their own way of doing things, and learning new data systems, learning new, all the new processes for the new car, how the build goes, and then for the drivers, learning a new steering wheel, learning how the systems work, how the controls work, getting into a new simulator again, uh, meeting all the people. That's been such a big hurdle, or a big task for us to learn and get a handle of. So the Rolex 24 is a good opportunity because you have, 20 hours of racing to sort of figure out how everything's going, and then the last 4 hours you're sort of a finely tuned machine by then. But um, I would say it's not going to be simple, but I think it's something that the team's quite used to change by now. So yeah, we'll see how the Rolex goes.
Okay, so let's talk about the Rolex. Obviously this is a race that you've won before. What is it just like to go down there and to go down there every year? I mean, it's the feeling of going down there the first time or the 21st time. It always feels special to go down to Daytona and compete in that race.
Yeah, it's always one of the best weekends of the year. And you get to for the first time you get, especially for the Roar, you first time you get to see everybody with the new liveries, all their new cars, who's showing up, different drivers, different lineups. There's just so much news happening, and it's fun just to go watch, just to go see that. I live less than 40 minutes away, so even though it's just down the road and it's a home race, it's still a big build up to do that drive for that significant weekend. So that's going to be tomorrow that I'm going to head down there for the first day of the Roar, and yeah, and then everything sort of kicks off. But the Rolex 24 for us is just such a big event, and like you said, whether it's the first time or the 21st time, you're always uh, you're always sort of on pins and needles, and it gives you those nerves every year. So it's always such a tough one.
How many Rolexes is this for you?
My first one was 2008. So
Z-
what's that? That's a lot. That's too many. It's 16.
I think
Yeah,
you're yeah, 16.
yeah, that's a lot. Ay, ay, ay. I'm getting old.
So going into this year, you talk about, just the excitement that this race has gotten because you see all the new car, you see all the classes, the manufacturers that are coming in, full fields of cars and stuff like that. What is it just like to see this series continue to grow every single year?
It is really exciting. We just I'm not on social media a lot, but my wife tells me like the Insta social media is growing like crazy, and I can see it at the track. Just the fan engagement at the track. There's so much more interest in the sport. Even year to year, you can notice a change, and it's exciting to be a part of that. I think on the inside, we're obviously excited about it. You and me, we've been around this for a while, and we get excited about all the new updates and new cars and new things. But to see other people engaged in it and that other people are sharing the excitement is really cool. And so obviously when I first was introduced to racing, I was a baby, and my dad was racing in the original GTP era, and from all of my stories growing up, it was always that was the heyday, that was the golden era, and I really feel like we're a part of that. We're part of that again, and it's just gaining a lot of strong momentum with the new class, the new cars that are coming in every year. You think it can't get bigger, and another major manufacturer, major team gets announced. So for the drivers and competitors, we want to be racing against the best, and I think the competition level just keeps going up, and I think that's translated to the fans and to the show.
Yeah, for sure. So of course coming in the this with this team getting just going into this season, what are the expectations, for this full season? Because we start off with Daytona, and then we go to Sebring, and then you get the Long Beach, and of course Detroit and all that other fun stuff. What do you want to see out of this team in the first few races, especially with Cadillac coming in?
Yeah, I think we have high expectations. The car has been great from the get-go. Obviously, they did a lot of development over the last couple of years, and they won the championship the first year out. And I feel like with our experience elsewhere, we can bring a little bit of our own flair to the program. And Cadillac is so involved. They put so much into this program that it's really exciting to be a part of. Um, Hiring lots of new people, making lots of changes, and really, really making the program a world-class effort. So the expectations, I think, are very high. I think with that level of involvement and investment, just from time and energy, the expectations are from their side are to win, and they wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't to win. That's why everybody does it. So um, I think we're up for the task, and I think all the pieces are in place. We just need to go execute.
And finally, I always like to end with this question when I approach the event: what's it going to take to win the Rolex 24?
think you're gonna have to be not only just make it to the end, it's obvious, but you're gonna have to be really strong. Like last year, we saw a head-to-head battle between Cadillac and Porsche, and you're just gonna have to position yourself right at the very end, whether it's a restart or whether you have a certain amount of tires left. You're just gonna have to do all of your little things right. Uh, Come the last hour, not even the last 4 hours. The last hour is where the magnifying glass is really on you, and picking the right guy for the job at the end is going to be really key. We have four great drivers in the car, and I think just all those little details are going to add up at the end. Making sure you have all the dive planes on, nobody's made contact, and yeah, just winning that little sprint race at the end.
Absolutely. All right, Ricky Taylor, one of the drivers of the number 10 Cadillac Wayne Taylor Racing V Series R GTP. Thank you so much for the time, as always, and best of luck in the Rolex 24.
Thanks, Casey. Thanks for having me.